Welcome, Dr. Rose here. I'm actually getting ready to go into session, but I wanted to come on and just discuss, as I typically do, the latest police violence, the reaction that took another life of a black man. And I always say I'm tired of coming on, but I'll keep coming on as long as I have to. I shared a post yesterday just discussing how, you hear so many people talk about what needs to be done, particularly with the police force, but racism exists not just in the police force. We know that, but people talk about more training, diversity training, things of that sort. The status I shared yesterday talked about how none of that is going to do any good. Um, from a psychological standpoint, I wanted to just share what we do know about these type of incidents and reactions, automatic, as I talked about in my post yesterday, knee-jerk reactions to annihilate people of with brown and black skin. The police force just sees them immediately as a threat. So to come and just share just some background to help you understand this whole concept of, as I stated in my status yesterday, that individuals now, these individuals on the police force who are racist, may not consider themselves racist, and they really don't consider themselves racist because it's not a basis of racism. It's really a basis of conditioning that has gone on in our country for hundreds and hundreds of years that has been strengthened, and we see it with these continued stories of individuals being murdered. And the individuals by far represent people that look like me, share my skin tone. And I wanted to just go back to my teaching roots. I taught psychology for 11 years at one of the area colleges here. And I want to share an experiment that was done in 1920. It was called the Little Albert experiment. And you can look it up. But in 1920, researchers wanted to build upon the work of another Ivan Pavlov. Some of you know that, Pavlov's dog. But they want to build upon the work of how they could show that pets and dogs could be conditioned to respond to stimulus that typically would not get any response from them. So they taught a dog to salivate when he heard a bell. And it was just amazing. I'm not going to go through the whole experiment, but it was an amazing experiment to show that you can actually condition a person to have a response that does not come natural to them by exposing them over and over again to some type of stimulus. So little Albert built upon that. And just stay with me because this is it. Little Albert was a baby, like 8, 9 months old, that they brought into the laboratory. And they would pair little Albert with all types of little animals, fluffy rabbits, different animals that babies innately, want to gravitate toward. They want to pet the animals, touch the animals. And so they would expose him to that, let him play with these animals. And about 3 months after that, they would expose him to the same animals that he had become conditioned to play with. But each time he would touch or go near one, particularly bunny rabbits, white and fluffy animals, they would pair that with a loud noise. Like he would go towards the animal and they'd hit a hammer on a steel beam, and you know what type of noise that creates. And the baby, little Albert, as a result, would start crying. And again, they would do this. They would show this animal to him, they would pair it with a loud noise, and this baby would start crying. And eventually, they trained this child to fear anything that was white and fluffy, something that he did not fear initially. Now he feared because of the constant repetition of the conditioning and programming that they presented with this kid to show him that if you go near this white fluffy animal, you're going to have this very unpleasant experience of this loud noise. Now, what does that have to do with racism? As I said in my status yesterday that I put up, racism is nothing more than conditioning and programming. When you see young children together, young children that have not been conditioned yet, black and white children, they hug each other, they play with each other. There's no type of conditioning or embedded or innate response for them to fear someone just because they have a different tone of skin than they do. However, what we've experienced in this country is hundreds of years of conditioning, okay? Hundreds of years of the media, hundreds of years of family members, grandparents, hundreds of years of just being individuals being told that anyone that has melanated skin, anyone that is brown or black should be feared. You know, the oppressor convinced this country that the oppressed were the ones to be feared. And that was reinforced again and again and again through media, like I say, through newsprint media, through family stories. So individuals that never even had any type of interaction with people of color what we're just conditioned time and time again to fear them. We have a police force full of these people. We have a police force full of individuals that have this innate response. And what I mean by innate response, let me just explain something. You think of Tamir Rice, we can go through, right? All the different examples. I don't need to name all the names because it bogs us down. We all know that. But we have so many examples of policemen just automatically reacting without taking consideration of what's the situation going on. Is this person really a threat? But you don't see that with our white counterparts because they have not been conditioned to automatically fear that. And when we are conditioned, when we have this innate response of conditioning that goes on with this type of programming, we can bypass. What I mean by that is when a police officer sees someone with brown or black skin, it can bypass, this is what conditioning does, the processing area of the brain. So it doesn't even go to the brain when they see this person to, let's consider the circumstances. Are they a threat? You know, am I really in danger? They don't go through all that processing that people, you know, typically go to make a decision. It's a knee jerk reaction. It's the same reaction you would get if a fly flew in your face and you swat that fly, or if you saw a mouse running across the floor and you automatically jump up. It's innate. You don't have to think about that. So as a result, we have a whole force of individuals that will continue. We're going to continue to see these stories until they get to the root of the problem, until we get behavioral experts together to start implementing and unlearning. Because anything learned and conditioned, even with 400 years of conditioning and learning and programming, can be unlearned. So all this diversity training means nothing. Again, when you've been programmed to just regard people of color in so many negative ways, you know, dangerous, uneducated, just less intelligent, less than a person. That's why we even, when you, and I'm just, if you, I have white counterparts watching, listen to this. Whenever we hear, and I'm talking about black people now, whenever we hear a person say something to the effect of, you know, a black person gets up and speak and they say, oh my God, they're so articulate. Oh my God, he or she is so articulate. That's such an insult to us because that is really representative of the programming that you've had. It's such a shock to you because you've been programmed to believe that blacks are not articulate, blacks are not intelligent. And so when you see that and you make that comment, it's just another example of the conditioning and programming you've had because you wouldn't say that if it were a white counterpart getting up speaking. That's just another, just real life example you can take into consideration. So I just felt the need to come on. I have clients. I'm actually running a little late. I'm getting ready to start a session right now, but I needed to come on and just help you guys just understand what needs to happen. You know, we're trying to fix a problem with techniques and tools that's not going to fix the problem. We've got to go and reprogram generations of programming that has resulted in what we are seeing and what we continue to see year after year, month after month. It's just exhausting. I say it all the time. I'm tired of coming on talking about this, but I know there's a need for me to come on and talk about it because people don't get it. They don't understand diversity training, bias training, all of that. You know, better training of the police force does nothing. And it's not just the police force, it's the entire country that needs to just have an overhaul of the programming and the racist propaganda that has been perpetuated by our society since we were brought over here. So just food for thoughts. Please share this video or share your thoughts. I would love to hear it. I just want to come on and share this. And if you have any questions for me, don't hesitate to ask. But have a great day, everyone. And we got to believe we can. We know how to change it. We just gotta believe it can be changed, and we can eradicate this system of just oppression that continues to just thrive in this country. Take care, everyone.